Yay, we're live. Grand rising, beautiful beings. I will wait a few moments. Mo is jumping on today, and welcome everyone. So we'll give a few moments, and Mo will jump on, and we'll go into a beautiful, beautiful subject of discipline and how much of self love is that discipline. I bet a lot of us had a meaning of discipline as something that is forced upon you and all these things, right? It's forced, it's uncomfortable, there is suffering in discipline, and so on. So let's see if there is any ways that we can flip that idea and attachment of the discipline, and how can we extract the value out of it, right? So welcome everyone, welcome. I love how many more are jumping on. Let me know, Mo, whenever you are in here. I think I'm gonna see it. Let me see. Oh, invite. Still pretty new with all the Instagram lives. Yes, wait, Mo is here. Perfect. Oh, Mo's jumping on. Yay!
Hey, what's up,
Finally.
Roma?
How are you? How are you? Thank you for such an awesome collaboration,
You're welcome.
and joining me this AM. As I was sharing quick with everyone before you jumped on, we're going into discipline and see how much of self love we can extract there, and how much of value we can extract, because I don't know, you are coaching a lot of men, right? I don't know if you're dealing with an idea that most people have of discipline, that is something to suffer from, something forced upon you. Rather, I find that my discipline for me is freedom, absolute freedom. And I know if my discipline ends, my limitations start, right? So we'll get in all into it. Welcome,
Thank
welcome,
you
welcome.
for having me.
Yeah, Mo, absolutely. Mo, take off. Where are you today? How are you feeling? And we'll just get rolling with whatever comes up.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just been in sessions back to back since the morning. I usually work 7 days a week, no days off. I don't find it, I wouldn't even call it work, but I
And then,
primarily, yeah, I enjoy seeing my guys. I enjoy seeing progress and helping them resolve some of the internal tethers that they have. So I usually do one-on-ones, about 5 to 6 a day. I split the day. Some guys I see in the morning, some guys in the evening. Primarily, most of the people I work with have a lot of attachment to either substances, processes, thoughts, people. And so through conversations, I work on disputing the dialogue that they have with me. Creates a lot of turbulence and a lot of resistance. I've been working with the guy just before this call, has a 30-year marijuana addiction. And we talked about how the media promotes it as a healing element and a healing tool. And it's really destroying his life. And so there's this discussion on use, misuse, abuse, addiction, dependence. So there's like stages. There's no generalized way of seeing something and just giving it to the people. That's why I like to work on one, and every person's case is different. Every
absolutely.
person's thresholds are different. And so we have to honor and respect that. And that's primarily why I work individually. I don't like to do a cookie cutter copy and paste type model and just sell it to people, you know?
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. So it's good. It's a really good approach to create an individualized plan. And again, everybody isn't required to be disciplined. The whole idea is setting the right foundation. And a lot of times people start with you because they locate there's a problem, right? And just that's the first step, is admitting I am not as effective as I thought I was. And so there's an element of surrender that happens. And that's the beautiful piece in starting the journey, is admitting defeat. And so men in general have a very difficult time saying that.
I can only imagine, because as you said, like goosebumps went through my body, leave alone saying I'm defeated. For a man to say I am powerless, I'm feeling helpless, right? I don't feel strong. I feel that's where the borderline, the depression can start for a guy, because it's so important and it's so essential for your own right inner identity to feel that. That's absolutely powerful. What do you say? I have a question. As you were talking to addictions and attachments, and there's levels of, right, in attachment and addiction, let's say. So you're saying, because that's my key as well, right? Um, Everything is a double-edged sword, and it dependable on where you at. That's why it's all individual. You can add value with that thing, with that habit, right? With that program, or you can leak value from your life. And admitting that you are the only one that's standing in your own way and leaking that value, not only for men, for women, is very complicated as well,
Mhm.
and can be challenging. Why? Because we have a strong identity of being right. And for us, it's more like, oh, and it's not that I'm not strong. It's like, oh, I wasn't right. Oh, so many times I wasn't right. Now I got to admit
Right.
that. And now I got to sit with that. So that's beautiful, what you're saying. So now, why? What is the key point for you as you're working with many different individuals, right? Um, what do you see majority, dominantly, why the addiction, right? Why the attachments, in your
Let's
interpretation?
go back to the element of being right, okay? Let's
Go.
talk about that for a
Let's
minute,
go. Let's
and
go.
then we'll go towards the why someone develops an attachment or an addiction to something. So when you go back to the concept of being right, that's how it starts. That's what starts the conversation. If an individual comes to me and there's still a very strong relationship with their ego, right? And they don't even understand there's levels to the self. I mean, that's where I usually try to take them. So this element of I need to be right or I don't want to admit that I was wrong. Well, there's a part of you that feels this way, but there's another part that we need to also take into account. And then the little red flag comes up in their head. They're like, "What are you talking about?" Because they identify with I. And so that is the initial attachment. That's the subtle subconscious attachment, the I first. So if you're treating everything connected to that I, you're really not gonna go far because you're just distracting and wasting time. So that's why I work individually with people. And a lot of the guys that seek help don't even have this awareness. So I can't even sell this concept because it sounds so foreign. There's
Correct.
a lot of unfamiliarity. So I would try to switch the concept of right and wrong into micro versus macro levels of awareness. And then they're bought in. It's all about hooking, right? You have to find the right way to hook the individual to have the conversation for a longer period of time. Because if they do tap in, then they start the self inquiry piece. They start to really go beyond the current state that they started this transaction with. That's all we want, empowering someone, not selling a program to someone. So, and that's the thing. The ego is always thinking, well, you're trying to sell me something. Well, I'm selling you my time so you could enhance your awareness, because obviously you got yourself into this current state that you're in. Your current level of thinking can't solve the problem that you started with. So you need some guidance. You need someone that actually sees beyond what you're capable of seeing, and they will help you see too. And so I just want to make sure that we say that the element of I'm not willing to admit I'm wrong, that's actually a good sign because we need to work with that, you know? And so back to the second question you asked, and why do people develop attachments? Well, the brain is always seeking some form of pleasure and reward,
And
right?
validation.
And validation, and also wants to escape something uncomfortable because it has thresholds that it works with.
Yep.
So pain and pleasure are the main movers and shakers for any human brain. And a lot of times our people don't know their why and they focus on their how. So, how do I do this? How am I going to overcome this? Well, let's talk about why you established this in the first place before we teach you the mechanisms and the tools. It
Correct.
means nothing if your how. Think of it this way: there's a lot of guys out here that are very, very, very successful, but what fuels their success or pursuit of success is mainly compensation.
Yeah.
So their why is compromised. Okay. If you're doing something out of a compensation based model, you're going to crash, you're going to burn out.
unsustainable in the long run. It's a survival mechanism anyways.
Not effective. It's not
Yep.
effective. And they
Yep.
want, why am I breaking? Why am I? Because you're an ungrateful piece of shit. That's why. That's what's happening is you're not understanding the pain that was caused or established in your life is actually a variable that you need to learn how to work with instead of escape. So
Correct.
when I compensate for something, I'm going to achieve some level of a status or a prestige or a position, but then I can't hold it. I can't
Correct.
maintain it. You see? Because the fuel that drove this state that I'm in wasn't really healthy and effective. It's a really low frequency. And obviously you understand the concept of human brain waves and frequencies. So the quality of our thoughts is responsible for that energy. And then the relationship I have with that thought is also responsible for energy.
Correct. And if we're in a protection mode, again, anytime I'm coming from survival, anytime we're coming from ego, if intention is coming already from ego, right? With attachments, with the ideas how it's supposed to look, with attaching our value to it, meaning, oh, I have the money in the bank account, my value is going up, not understanding that value and worthiness has nothing to do with any of it, any of their circumstances. And it's beautiful because all of my coaching and my main coaching is the same, one-on-one. And I love, because we're walking every day through the triggers, walking every day through them, showing up daily in their routines, right? And they're moving their body, shifting their conversations, stepping in, taking that step of saying no to someone and putting that boundary, right? As they're realizing they're stepping into action right off the bat. And the biggest difference between you getting sustainable, beautiful results that are actually absolutely balanced within and feels right, is you not coming from survival, is you coming from creator mode. And creator mode, you will never be in a protection mode, meaning every step you make, every move you make, interaction you make, it is a heart led, it is authentic, right? A very different quality of energy, as you said. And the other part will be the survival part. Again, will not be sustainable in the long run. So
Yeah.
I love what you were mentioning. What is the most challenging parts so far that you're noticing for people to step in? Right, from my perspective, is again, it's not the knowledge that
Mm-hmm.
they have. A lot of times, it's a blind spot because you're not aware. When you're not aware, you're not aware.
Right.
Hence a guide or mentor or guidance or some kind of a coaching can be very valuable, right? It's the same like let's take for a little bit education and university. It's the same like one student, all the value that is out there on the campus and all the professors will maximize their potential with it, and some will not, right? So coach can have very lots of value if student is open enough to different perspectives. That's where I see the biggest value of ours, to support, to see the blind spots, because I walked through these blind spots. I had to recognize them,
Right. Right.
right? And I had support as well, and I always have, because I say to myself, why not? Roma gets always to have someone to talk to if she wants to. Yeah, no limitations here. So in your interpretation, in my interpretation, it's the blind spots, and when they see the blind spots, the next most challenging step is just stepping into that action and ways of being. So they understand that they're doing this, and they see their reaction, but to really start being that response able. So instead of reacting, responsibility, right?
Right.
That's one of the challenges that I see for people. Everybody has the knowledge. Everybody has the knowledge how to be healthy. Everybody has the knowledge how to appreciate someone. Everybody has the knowledge how to pause, right? And start being a little more aware.
Right.
Yet somehow people are not stepping into this and still wondering how come nothing is changing in their lives. And they're just kind of absorbing all the knowledge without being it. So my big deal is, you learned one sentence, you realized one thing, you went through one breakdown and breakthrough, integrate it, start anchoring it, not overwhelming yourself with intellectualism, bring it into your body. And I can tell you that definitely, because your energy is then you speak on your lives or your little reels and all your videos, very straightforward. And I love that about you as well, and very to the T. And I can see how it can sound rude to someone, right, as well, that in protection
Yeah.
mode, right, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
why is he saying that? And yet I'm speaking to you now, and your energy is beautiful, light, open. My nervous system is absolutely relaxed next to you. So I already know you're embodying what are you preaching. So that's beautiful. So what is, in your interpretation, the more challenging steps to take for people once they're going through transformation, once they want to shift those lives fully, right?
A lot of times it's obviously, it's very consciousness based. Everybody wants deep down in their very essence, they want to leave a current state that they're in. They want more.
Okay.
Okay. They want to be more. They want to feel more. They want to experience more. Everybody does. That's innate. You don't have to find that. That's within you. So the idea isn't to add something or read something, because if you're still connected to your ego, you're really just not even tapping in fully. Okay? You're
Love
half
it.
you're doing it in half measures. And that's why it sounds entertaining for people to talk about stuff, to talk and talk and talk.
Concepts.
Concepts, definitely. I mean, it's good. That's very rewarding, but you can
Opening.
actually get a higher intensity if you do it differently, and then they're interested. The whole concept is we have to be artists, and we hold the mechanism of delivering and flowing a conversation based on what we say, because we see more than they do. So with more awareness, you have more responsibility.
Correct.
I don't
Absolutely.
let I don't let my guys direct me where they want to go. I make them think they do, just so I can keep them involved, but then I have to really direct how it works, how it flows. So that's the first piece, is everybody has that in them. Everybody has that already in them. The reason why I'm so direct in my videos is I don't want my ego to be fed or seek validation from other egos. Okay. You guys, I tell my people, you guys can give me something that I haven't given myself. So I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck about the foreplay. I'm not interested in the forwards and no, let's get straight to it. Right. I mean, there's a
Love
reason
it.
why we're talking. And the return on investment for both of us is I get to keep what I know by giving it to you. And you get to get enhanced by having a conversation with someone that has a higher frequency than you. So we both win.
Nice.
Right. This is just the attitude. And I don't believe that we have an education issue at this time and age in our world. We have an
Yeah.
application issue. So in
Boom.
order for you to get to work, I'm gonna compress the shit out of you, because compassion isn't your problem. That's already within you. You just haven't tapped into it yet. So in counseling, a lot of times here in the West, I'm in the US, they teach the system of unconditional positive regard for your clients, okay? But here's the issue. I'm going to give you unconditional positive regard and compassion for a fee, okay? And I don't support that model. I can't support that model because of the insight that I have. I can see how it works for some people. I can see how it works for some people, but I don't feel like aligned with that element. I feel like there has to be a deeper root. Unconditional positive regard. Well, if I have that for me, if I have it for me, can't I just automatically give it to somebody? You see? Why do I have to make sure that I follow this? Because the system isn't designed to protect the consumer. It's designed to protect the license in the fucking
Yeah.
state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the idea is, ethically speaking, I have an obligation towards my people, not the state and my license. Fuck my license. It serves a purpose and a
Absolutely.
starting point. That's not the issue. The insight that I have is what's valuable, not the piece of paper that says,
Yep.
oh, hey, from 2016, you've been licensed, from 2012, and let's keep paying this fee every few years so we can keep you active in our books,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we can keep an eye on you. You know? It's just a bunch of bullshit. And for me, I don't care. I say what I say because I can back it up. I don't say it out of rebellion. I don't say it out of anger.
Absolutely.
I know my shit. So, and I feel like before I leave, before I expire, I have to leave my mark on this planet. And how do I do that? You have to be fully aligned, and you have to promote something that's attractive. If you're not attractive, you can't promote something. That's just how it works. People don't say, "Oh, I want to sabotage myself today. Let me see who's the best in the business." Nobody does that.
No, they don't need support with that.
You see,
They
it's
they
automatic.
nailed it. They nailed it. Yeah.
So I like to always say sober and winning because I'm trying to promote something. I'm trying to promote something that seems so unpleasant to an average person. Living a sober life is cool. Most people don't find it that way. Not going to the club is cool. Sitting and reading a book is cool. Like people don't find that shit attractive. So we have an obligation to live a life, and that's why I display so many of what I do and how I live my life, so people could see. That's what a sober life can look like. You can actually
Beautiful.
create and design a life of your own choice. Yes, yes, you can. It's going to require some work. You have to be in proximity with people that actually are living that way, so you could start adopting some of their ways by exposure, not just by reading. You can't just go buy a book on
Yeah.
discomfort sitting in a fucking comfortable couch and read it. That's not how it works. You know?
So yeah, so because again, the consciousness doesn't expand unless we are actually having an experience, and
Yes.
the overriding of it will not happen, and it will not imprint in your DNA. It will not recode it again if you're not walking through it, right? So all of it gets to come
Application.
in together. Yes. So it's beautiful what you said as well, because I always laugh about certifications and license and getting the PhDs and getting the masters. Like it's the same like if you're still holding on to the paper and that's what's important and that's the only way you can actually validate yourself or introduce yourself. It's it's funny to me because it's exactly like if we're getting married, promising to each other to be a good wife and a good husband on the wedding day, yet every day of their lives choosing not choosing that, right? So it's like what it doesn't matter the certificate. Is Mo choosing to be an awesome coach in every freaking call?
Right.
Is he choosing to wake up and to be that when he's not on a call, right? When he's
Right.
being, when nobody's watching him? Like this is the, and this again, energy introduces everyone. So energy introduces you.
Right.
Like you don't need to know, you can feel it, right? Behind it stands behind you, behind your words get to match. I say as a discipline, as stepping into applications, as experiencing that expansion within. Again, without it you can't level up in any way. You can't become responsible because you'll keep reacting to your life. That's what I got, the genetics I got, right? My father was drinking, that's what happened to me. You will justify, you will continue justifying every single shitty move of your own.
Right.
Rather, hey, I am a responsible adult. Let me see where are my limitations. Let's take them off and maximize the potential, because everything that you're sharing right now, I'm hearing constantly like this is your intention, right? Like I am maximizing my potential. I will be maximizing my potential, and anyone that I interact with, that I come across, will have a chance to maximize their potential. That's what I
Right.
hear, right?
Right.
And meaning anytime, because I always used to say like that's my rule number one. No matter what interaction I had, no matter what happened, did I leave them better than I found them?
Right.
And that unconditionality for me. So I was laughing so much when you were talking about counseling. I have so many clients that did therapy for 20 years and 12 years, and although they felt lighter throughout it, right, there was no shift in their lives. And within a year with me, they're absolutely off every prescription. They're back
Yeah.
from 230 to 140 of the weight pounds, right? They're
Right.
up. They dropped everything. They're not even going to doctors anymore at this point. They're like, okay, we're healing ourselves. um, because a lot of times it allows that like unconditional positivity. I didn't even hear that before. English is not my first language as well. I'm Lithuanian originally, so a lot of times it was like, oh, that's a new word for me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a new. Um, for me, unconditional love is not soft love. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like a most balanced fathers and mothers love, right? Like tough love, soft love, tough love, soft love. I see you, yet come here. I
Right.
see you, yet come here, love, right? I
Right.
still love you no matter what, yet come here. That's how it goes, right? That's the circumstances and that's the consequences. What are you choosing, right? So love everything you're sharing as well. Again, I appreciate how much you're embodying, how much you're expanding yourself, because you can feel it in your energy. You can feel in all of your shares as well. And even being that, like, even if Mo and I doesn't, decide not to do it, like, let's harm it for a year. Let's disappear from, like, you being here, you being in this lifetime, you gazing at your daughters the way you're gazing, you're loving them the way you're loving them, taking care of yourself, showing up for you. That ripple is immense, Mo. And that's where I deeply appreciate um, everyone that is kind of at the forefront of that consciousness expansion, of that
Right.
awareness practice. It wasn't easy, and a lot of people are, there are more and more of us, right, are getting coming into it. So it's fun to see. Yet I know what it took. I know that a lot of us went to hell, came back a few more times, went back there again to make sure, and now we are where we are. And for all of us, the ability to sit with that pain, the ability to be okay with whatever is, will expand into immense ability to feel the joy, to feel the light, to feel the ease, to feel the power, right? Like, how much more powerful Mo is today versus you attached to all the stuff. Maybe you can, oh, you know what? Share with us a little bit of your own kind of shift, and like, what does it feel to be that free, to feel that free? What does it mean to you to lead yourself so beautifully, that you can support others to lead themselves, right? How does it feel? Because I bet a lot of people will resonate there. Most of my clients, how I get, like, they see me, they talk to me, they know me through someone, and they're like, whatever she's taking, I want.
Yeah.
Right? That's how they come close and start wondering what I'm doing,
Mhm.
and start opening up their hearts and minds. So what is the difference between Mo attached and Mo in his ego, and how does it feel not to have these
So
limitations? If you,
you could sell a really good egotistic image and you can master that. And that's most of this
that's
platform
true.
that we're on. There's a
Yes,
lot of guys that look good, speak good, sound good, have good marketers, they have good promoters, I mean, good videos. I mean, these guys are really making a killing because they've mastered how to display something, not be
absolutely
something.
agree.
So let's get that out of the way. So there's that level of people, and if someone's interested in bettering and improving their ego, sure, do it, and you'll capitalize and you'll maximize. But that's your return on investment. You'll get an external resource, not an internal one.
Correct.
For me, I value personally becoming something, and that becoming attracts the something that's outside of me. So I don't want to skip a step because in my history, I've skipped a lot of steps. You know, I went towards the money. I went towards the antisocial conduct,
The
selling things
same.
I shouldn't have sold, connecting with people that I shouldn't have connected with, because I had an ego problem and my egotistic image needed work. And so I've worked on that. Leaving that behind, leaving a lifestyle that's so fast-paced, stimulating, rewarding on an external level is not easy. That's the original addiction, I would call it,
Okay.
because everything's connected to that guy. Everything's connected to that identity, right? And so I went through a phase where I was manipulated by a so-called healer or spiritual mystic for a couple of years on finding yourself. Anyways,
Oh, okay.
did that. It was very ineffective because you don't actually find yourself, you create yourself.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
And
you.
so
Thank you for
my
saying that.
God, these things happened in levels, but everybody you talk to is at a certain stage in their journey, and they're going to agree and disagree with me, and that's cool, but I'm not interested. I really don't give a shit what they see because there's a reason why they're listening to me. Okay? There's a reason why they're being triggered by me. If you're triggered by something, it suggests that you haven't resolved that something. That's all. You
Yeah,
haven't made peace with that something. Because if you did make peace, you would actually say, I can observe what he's saying. I could see how that works. You won't be offended. You won't be really like
absolutely.
triggered by it. So you have a way of observing things because you overcame your valuation. So the reason for this state that I'm in now, and I can't wait to meet the next version because of the work that I constantly do. I know
Do
I'm not going to be this guy in the next few years. I know I'm leaving him behind.
love it.
So I'm currently in the state, and at this state that I'm in, I know I've changed my relationship with fear.
Okay.
That's all it is. Because if you are operating out of fear, you're limited capacity on love. If you have a lot of love, there's a low fear. So more courage, less fear. Okay, that's what happens. And courage to do what? To surrender some things, to show vulnerability, to speak a truth authentically without worrying how it's going to affect or offend somebody.
Yes.
Because compressing and offending someone is a prerequisite to get their attention to have the conversation. So my calls to action on my videos, I don't come in and be kind and sell this idea that I'm a soft. No, that motherfucker is in me. And you'll know when you
Love
talk
it.
to me one
Love
on
it.
one. You will find out on your own. I don't have to tell you that. But how do I get your attention? Well, I'm going to be talking shit because that's the language you speak. It's shit. Meaning, if I'm going to get the attention of somebody that is hostile, angry, inflicting pain, I have to speak that language to get them to be
It
involved with me.
resonates.
That's
Yeah.
all it is. It's a hook. So people don't understand that. Why are you so mean to people?
I,
Well, I'm not me. I'm mean to an old version of you that I'm trying to get rid of. Not you, a version of you. You see, I need to trigger a part of you. You're not all bad, but a part of you is. And that's what we're trying to get to, is that part of you that is not helping you, that's not serving your higher purpose, needs to be tamed. And you can't tame a part of you like that unless you strengthen a weak part of you. And so it's all a process. For me, it's all been fear. How do I let go of what created perceived comfort for me? So it was women, it was substances, it was money, it was all types of things that created an image of this guy, an idea. I mean, even tattoos. I mean, I'm filled with tattoos. Even tattoos was to send a message. But none of that stuff really holds weight because it's egotistic in nature. It really doesn't last. Like you said, it's not sustainable. It sends a quick message. It's a quick fix. It's a quick high.
where's another one? Where's another fix
Where's
now?
the next one? Right? Where's the next one going to come from? And so this idea of sitting with nothing, and that's one of the questions that I was asked. Who are you in the absence of all these things? And if you can answer that comfortably, you got it. And I couldn't for a while. Who are you? Without any of these things, without this, who are you? And if the answer isn't there, isn't clear, and the answer bothers you, that's an area that needs more work,
Beautiful. Oh yeah.
you know? So you know who you are with your attachments, no problem. And you just got to maintain them in order for you to keep this idea of you, but that's not really you. It's an idea of you. So when we talk about discipline, I don't believe people don't have discipline. Everybody is disciplined. Everybody is disciplined. But the path of their discipline, because look at this. My drug abusing clients, my alcoholic clients, you don't think they're disciplined? They get their drug and they get their
Commitment.
fix
There is commitment.
despite limitations. They find a way to make that shit happen, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
How is that
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
discipline?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
They
is that
just,
not?
it's simply refocusing commitment onto something else. I
Changing
always,
the course.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so think of it this way. If I don't like me, if I'm not comfortable with me, if I don't really think highly of me, why should I be with me? You see, that's the idea. People escape themselves because they don't like themselves. And
Correct.
then they justify it by, I'm escaping pain. I have PTSD. I have so and so. Sure, I got all that fucking shit. And now what? And what? A part of me has PTSD. I grew up in a fucking war zone.
Yeah.
I was abused as a kid. I
Yeah.
mean, we could make a list of all the things that have happened to us. Sure, I'm not discrediting my pain, but hey, being attached to it didn't really give me any good return on investment. It's time to let go, you know? It's time to part ways, and people get offended because they still want to grasp
Correct.
the fusion, right? Because they confuse comfort with familiarity. It's familiar to think that way because you've done it for so long. So
Correct.
obviously breaking something familiar or a psychological ritual or cognitive routines requires time to unlearn it. Instead of go and learn something new, you need to
Unlearn.
unlearn something old. You see how this works? It's like a really dynamic, complex process, and you can't do this on your own. That's why you need people that have done the work so they could walk you through this journey. You need that. I know this myself. I had to work with somebody for a long, long time because
Yeah.
I was very, very stubborn. very stubborn. And in the back of my head, when you have a trust issue, you're not going to receive information. The hardest ones to teach are the hardest ones to reach. Okay.
Correct.
And so if there's a block, the message, no matter how good and beautiful it is, it's not going to be
It's not
received.
getting through.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an art form. It's literally an art form. How to read your consumer, how to see where their energy is, and how to like find a way to sneak up on them with the message so they could actually spend some time and process it uninterrupted and come back for the follow-up conversation. That's why I do weekly calls with my guys. My
Same.
program, it's a non-negotiable. Like you have to have a minimum of 3 months to 6 months, and you have to come weekly and talk because your weekly calls and weekly sit downs is your tool. That's where you're like that's like the battlefield.
It's stepping into it's
Yeah.
consistency, because again, like, will you choose to be a good doctor just when you get the certification or PhD,
Right.
or every day,
Right.
or you gonna just celebrate the PhD, right, and then become a drug dealer for the
Yeah.
system? It's up to you. It's up to
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
And the same, husband or wife, or there's no way the overriding happens and DNA activation happens, that recoding happens of your blind spots. We all come in with a bias. Whatever my mom, my
Yeah.
parent, or whoever I grew up with told me about the world, that's my bias, and told me about me, that's my bias, and all the blind spots with the trauma. So absolutely, again, someone that walked through the blind spots of their own, someone that experienced disattachment from that ego, is an immense support. That's not even a question. And another thing, what I really noticed, Mo, it's not only like why there is such a misbalance and between the feminine and between the masculine, and what we have with the systems going on as an authority, right? As whose authority? Like, government is really our public servant. It's not an authority to us. We are the authority. Yet, because people are still not able to show up for themselves fully, to lead themselves, I noticed someone that can step into that ritual and discipline and consistently showing up for themselves, they will have hard time saying no to someone. They will have hard time having boundaries. They will have hard time standing up and putting their foot down in front of authority. So hence again, the society, the weakness of, you get it, like it's all over the place, because there is no way you going to talk to a cop with full confidence, with calmness, or to anyone out of authority, if you can't face yourself yet and you're running from your own shadows. If you're running from your own shadows and someone is belittling you, you won't be able to stand up unless you will be very aggressive and very defensive, right? And again, it's only escalation, and then hate and hate on
Right.
the top with the hate, and hate fighting hate. So where I see our big value, a big potency in our powerful men, powerful women, is, again, if I am able to show up for myself, face my own self, I am able to stand for my child and tell them no. There's no mandatory stuff for my kid,
Yeah.
or to stand up for anything. Hence, again, we're all going to rise very easily, because it's natural for you to stand up for yourself. It's natural for you to show up the way you say you are. Like, how many of us say that we are this? Say with our, oh, I'm protective, I'm super protective of my family, and yet you will shut your mouth, right? Like, because you don't know how to stand for it, really. You will go into fear, you will go into defense. I feel like if all of us, literally, coffee shop just fell down. If we're all of us simply step into that mirror and we're looking in the mirror, we're looking these shadows, so beautifully, we're going to all rise together, and I feel like it can happen so fast, if we all take that response able. I am responsible, I am an adult. Whatever that discipline, the consistency is, it is my pleasure to show up for myself. It's my freedom of choice. uh, and if I feel the limitation, fuck it, I'm not afraid, I'm gonna go and figure it out. Let me look at it. Because it's so funny how you say people get offended when you point out a blind spot or limitation. For me, means if Mo tells me, Roma, you didn't see this part, did you notice here you kind of hide,
Right.
and You're telling me, Mo, that I don't need to do anything extra in my life, only to look at this little limitation, and the ripple effect in my entire life will be way more immense, and I get more value, and I get more potential in me.
Right.
Wow. Meaning every little trigger that I still have is again more potent power of mine in there.
Right.
Wow, give it to me. Give it to me. Tell me what
Right.
you see. Tell me my blind spots. Like I am in I am honored to hear these stuff because I know that's where my potential hides. That's where I can harness most of my
Yeah.
power.
You're ready to receive. That's why.
Yeah,
You're ready to
absolutely.
receive. You know, when I look at, there's three variables that really give me a lot of information on where the person is and their relationship with their ego, right? Yeah, you can't set a boundary with someone if you haven't set a boundary with that part of you. You can't even communicate effectively if you haven't mastered your inner dialogue. I get all that, and it's really crucial, right? Because most people's internal world and internal setting is a very shitty place to live, and they can't even control that. So what do? They go to the outside and distract, and that's why a lot of them have insomnia issues, sleep problems, brainwave issues, all types of ailments that are physical because it's a manifestation of a compromised internal setting.
Amen.
Besides the point, when we have conversations, let's say my clients come in and we're talking, they're telling me about how they spend their day, where they go, who they talk to, right? All types of things. And they literally strip down to three elements. What's their space looks like, energy and time. Who do you give your energy to? Who do you give your time to? And where do you spend your time? When you look at these three, it automatically tells you what that person values, their priority list, what really seems to be their standard in life. But they tell you, for example, I'll give you an example. Last week I had someone tell me, I told him, what is your why? He's like, my kids. I said, bullshit. He's like, why? I said, because you have them and you violated them and you still continue to find a way to use. And now you want to tell me that they're the incentive for change. That's not enough. And he was very offended. But that's the reality of it. It's not something that you're going to go get. You already have them and you compromise your relationship with them to feed your drug habits, and you're going to tell me they're the incentive for change. It doesn't make sense, because if you had access to something, you still violated it. You can't use the same thing you violated as incentive for change. It doesn't make sense. He
Nice.
struggled with that. He struggled with that. Does that mean I'm saying this man doesn't love his kids? No, I'm saying he doesn't love them fully. He doesn't love them correctly. He has love for them, but he hasn't manifested it correctly because there's a barrier. There's an internal tether. That's just one of many examples. So when we talk about discipline, the word discipline comes from the word disciple, follower. If you don't know how to follow a fucking plan, follow advice and insight, you're not going to have the discipline that we're talking about. So becoming the right disciple, the good follower, not of a person, not of a party, not of an authority. I'm talking about a disciple to a system of overcoming personal development. When you follow that and you have the disciple mindset to implement it, over time you establish the discipline. And so people say, well, how do I become disciplined? Become a good follower. What do you mean?
Beautiful.
Follow a plan. Follow a fucking plan. Start with small details of the
Small
plan,
steps.
master those, and then add another one, and then add another one. But oh, it's going to take a lot of time. Well, you're losing time. Well, you're losing time anyways. You see? The concept is so interesting because the ego wants to always find a hole in what you're suggesting because it doesn't
Absolutely.
want to leave. It doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Do you see? And they don't understand that. That's why in the beginning, when I met with you now, I told you that we're not talking to I, we're talking to a version of that I,
Yeah.
because there's versions, there's sub-selves. And a lot of times people don't even know. Think of it this way. The ultimate proof that there's more than one motherfucker in everybody is this. Okay? You know, to have a conversation, you minimum have to have two people, right?
Correct.
So if you're having self-talk, dummy, aren't you? Isn't that confirmation there's more than one of you in there?
Plenty.
Self-talk is the proof that there's more than one entity to me. Yes?
Absolutely.
And
That mental conversation, these voices, who are those voices anyways, right? Like,
that's the
how,
beauty of
yeah,
this. You see, is now you have to admit, oh shit, there's a higher version and a lower version of me, and they're battling each other? Yes. They're fighting for the position. there's two parties in you minimum that are fighting for a position. One wants fulfillment and love and growth, and one wants destruction, right? And sabotage and abuse. And they're both clashing. You know, substance use, from my observation, is self-inflicted violence. And a lot of my guys tell me, I'm not hostile. I'm not hostile. Well, you are fucking hostile. I'm not hostile towards people. You're hostile towards yourself.
Self.
How about that? And they're like, oh shit, I never thought of it that way. That's the issue, is your blind spots won't let you see the macro.
Absolutely.
They
Yeah.
won't. The conversations with people in our positions create that.
And
You know?
and you beautifully said, I'm not saying he doesn't love his kids, right? I'm saying he loves them wishy-washy. Why? Because if you don't know how to love yourself unconditionally, how can you love someone else unconditionally?
Right.
You can't. And hence again, most of our parents met where they met us. A lot of our partners meet where they meet us. And everything can be either a mirror to show you where you want to go, and you can extract the wisdom out of your wounding, or you can continue, stay comfortable. It's so funny that it feels comfortable to us when we are in this shit show of our own inner war. No matter how uncomfortable we are inside, I find it so paradoxical, really. We're uncomfortable, we're heavy, we're attached with our addictions, we're running, we're avoiding, we can feel the resistance, the pressure, but it still almost feels like it's more uncomfortable to step out into something that could be better. Like,
Yeah.
you get it?
It's
And
familiarity,
it's
right?
familiarity,
So
yes.
you value familiarity and you have a low tolerance for uncertainty. And you
Correct.
combine these
I
two
know.
and you got a problem.
And you got a problem right there. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're too familiar with something because at least you know you can control this chaos.
The
You have a high
illusion.
tolerance for it, right? Illusion. And then you have a low tolerance for uncertainty or the not knowing. So you settle for knowing at least what you're getting,
Correct.
right? And then you get into that mode and it's just reinforced and reinforced. And then it becomes addictive. That's why we call these psychological rituals. So a lot of times
Brooklyn.
people aren't only addicted to things outside, they're addicted to thinking processes,
The habit.
right?
It's the, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you can't unlock that when you're working with a crowd. You really need to work with people individually. That's
One of
why I refuse to see people in group settings like that will do this type of work, because it's literally a monetization tool now. I'm simply selling information for money. I refuse to do it. I can make 5, 6 times what I'm making right now. But I know deep down, my consciousness knows you're not really 100% effective because you combine all these egos in one setting, and you need to take one ego at a time to actually deflate it. You can't deflate all the egos, because when one ego in the presence of other egos has to adjust to their presence. So there's always this hiding and this masking that's taking
Oh, yeah.
place,
And
right?
yeah, and again, because all the shift and transformation itself requires the consistency, requires that DNA activation and recoding and
Yeah.
subconscious reprogramming. If you don't have consistency, the same. That's what I found. I was hermiting more like for 3 years, meaning hermiting, only having these 10 people group and going like this for the results, and not like doing out there master classes. Like now, I jumped in. I have every 6 weeks a masterclass, to share some more info. Yet my favorite way of being, everybody submits daily journals, rising every evening and every morning. And every rising, they declare mentally who they're being. They know the tasks and steps that they're stepping in.
Yeah.
They declare what they're emotionally. They meditate. They work out. They take care of their physical body, emotional, mental, and spiritual every rising. In the evening, they check in how it went. They checked in if something didn't flow, like you said. Naturally, we are disciplined. Naturally, we're gonna show off ourselves. That doesn't come easy, meaning we know already that there is a part that gets to be peeled off,
Yes.
right? Gets to be disattached. And then every week we jump on the calls, because every rising and every evening we all know where we at, right? We're like,
Right.
oh, this week that's what came up constantly. Then every week we go into that shadow work, we go into that mirror work, we go asking these deeper questions, call them forward, like whatever that question needs to be. And some of them are very uncomfortable. And we get to look at this. Yet the quantum leap of profound 180 shift in their lives happened to every single of them within a year. And that's what I like, because we walked every day, 365 days all together, being aware of every trigger, being aware of
Hmm.
all the, the still ego attachment. And we even celebrate ego, because again, there's layers and layers, right? We
Yeah.
play with it all. Now we're both aware, right? Because for me was me not only collect my own evidence, because I've been in transformation since 2012, so I've had quite a lot of deep awakenings, and in every way, and still feeling off, and the same like you. I know in a half year I want to recognize myself again, and I love it. That's the most part that I love about myself, creating and creating and creating, and seeing, like, now I feel like the limit is there, and then a half year later this limit is over, and then over there, and then keep seeing what else is possible
Right.
for Roma. And it's so amazing how this total shift can happen. And if one member shifts fully in the family, right? There's some mothers, some fathers that I have, some daughters, anybody, suddenly all the families start shifting.
Of
All of
course.
it, all of them. Now I have and daughters and moms together. I have suddenly the husband joins. They're all leaving 9 to 5s. They're all stepping into their own heart-led businesses. They all are healing their bodies physically, getting off any prescription and any attachments. And it's so, again, now we all have results. So I'm like, okay, now we can. I want to play a little more. Like, I might do more lives. I might do more master. I might. Yet my main point will always going to be that kind of like VIP group that I walk through, because these little drop by drop mini steps every single day. It seems, oh, it's going to take long. Yes, it seems like, oh my God, so uncomfortable, so many little steps. Yeah, what happens? Like, you get into it, it starts becoming a little bit of the habit behavior, right? And then the habit, and then it starts becoming naturally you. I don't need to think anymore after so many years, neither if I need to journal, if I get to check in the mirror and to look me straight in the eyes and to see if I still like myself today. For me, it comes every night, every rising. Natural. Absolutely. I don't miss a beat. If I'm gonna hang up right now, that's where gonna be my pause, appreciation, the deep breath is, and a mini journal. I'm gonna already appreciate both of us, and I'm gonna appreciate every client we had, will have any tribe member, and their profound shifts, because that's how it works. We're in the creator mode here. So it's so beautiful that we all have results, and we can expand and play and create whatever we want right now and collaborate. And it's becoming more and more fun, and it's becoming easier for me as well, to walk. Before, no, I don't know how you started, but when I started, like, my heart used to break on people that give up in my tribe, right? Like, break. In the beginning, like, especially like 3 4 years ago, I was like, oh no. Now I am so honored to, again, for any
Yeah.
interaction, and if people choose to stay where they want to stay, or choose to go wherever they want to go, I can respect that. I can respect that, and I love everyone's lives for everyone. Yet, um, hence again why I have with you that live collaboration today, because I love how you're showing up. I will hold my standard, I will embody my knowledge, and I will share the way I want to share, authentically, because I know who I'm attracting. I know my clients are me, crazy and open and ready to leave.
Right.
And if I trigger and close off someone, and someone just like, oh, I lost them, thanks God, because that wasn't my person to begin with. So yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so freaking excited for all of us. And I'm excited that there are so many of us that finally grasping the manipulation of our energies, grasping the value of
Right.
us, because so many, as you already shared, cannot even sit with themselves. They don't like their own company. They don't love themselves, and most of when we are there, how many issues, how many trouble and resistance we create in all the relationships, because we want them to be with us.
Yeah.
Well, why my girl doesn't love me unconditionally? Well, you can't even, like you say, you can't even sit with yourself. You don't like yourself. Why would she love you unconditionally?
Right.
Why would your clients look up to you if you were here only surface like shaky, selling, right? Like again, the energy stands behind it. So I am
Right.
honored to be here with you because I can feel you stand your words, your emotion, your action, and your energy and your spirit, right?
I
It's
appreciate you
aligned
too.
and stand behind each other. It's freaking lovely. What are you excited about? Besides finishing the
Excited.
live,
I mean,
besides finishing the live.
it's just the idea of getting to be here and to participate in people's lives in this way. I wouldn't trade my life for anybody. I mean, if
Mm,
I saw me, I would want to be me. You know what I mean?
love
Like
it.
that's my attitude. And people take it as arrogance, but in reality, it's confidence. I can back up why I say that. I love my process. I can't be without my process. And that's why I sell it. That's why I push it. Because I know the outcome. I know the return on investment. You live a life that is very difficult to explain. I call it a life of your design. Okay, I designed this motherfucker. I designed this shit. I chose this. People think you just suddenly land in a good
Yeah, yeah,
body.
yeah.
You suddenly land in a good position.
Oh,
You
good
don't
for you.
land in nothing. No, you don't land in shit. There's no luck. You create something. And if you want to create something, put yourself in the circles of people that are creators too, and you'll get it as well. That's how this works. You just got to be willing to invest a certain amount of time and discomfort because this shit's uncomfortable. Okay.
Yes.
But then you'll start to see as you walk the path, we say that the path illuminates as you walk it. And so you
Amen.
can't understand it from the beginning. You
Yes.
have to just have a little bit of faith in people and walk with them. That's all I would say. Okay.
Yeah, I love what you say. Let's stop trying to figure out our way forward, right? Life is always understood looking backward. Um, Leads with your hearts. And again, there's so many of us out there, and if you don't choose Mo or don't choose I to, for support, really resonate with someone,
Right.
reach out.
Anybody.
Another big deal is for people asking for support. I feel like so many of us are constipated emotionally, literally, and we like can't ask for support. Yeah, that's what it is. It's mental
Yeah.
diarrhea and emotional constipation. That's what we've been living
Yeah.
with, all of us. So I will say, I bet you have. I saw you have some master classes. Check out Mo's master classes. Check out his one-on-one. Check out whatever Mo has as well. I have Linktree. I have my website. Plenty of new little packages. A lot of free PDFs again as well. I made. You have two beautiful daughters. I just made
Thank
a
you.
kids book, experiential learning kids book. It's free PDF. It's very cute, like 13 pages with a process. Actually, they read the book and then they get to create something and share the appreciation, the support, and the compassion with people of their choice, and one goes to them. So if you feel
Send
like,
me
check
a
out,
link.
I'll send you, yeah, I'll
Send me
send you a
the link.
link. So it could be a nice little thing for them to do. There are some processes that are for free. I have shadow work processes like Miro. You have questions. It tells you 10 minutes naked in the mirror. Look here, look there. What are you feeling? Write it down. Ask questions. What have you done for yourself? Ask questions. What have you done to yourself, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff are available out there.
Let's make
And
let's make time to check me and you individually alone so I could see what you offer because I usually get female clients or partners of people that I work with that also need
absolutely,
guidance and help. And so this way we could use it as a referral system as well for you and they could explore your work and see if they like it, they'll reach out to you.
absolutely.
So
Yes,
we'll
yes,
set a
yes.
time, me and you, we'll talk, we'll do a little phone call and then we'll go over the items that you're offering
Perfect.
and ways that you prefer to be contacted and then we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Okay?
I will do the same because, again, I love the way you are expressing and triggering us. I love it. I used to introduce myself. Hey, this is your favorite trigger. I'm like walking trigger, and I love it. I'm very animative as well, in the way I express myself. I've been
Yeah.
a long time like this, so people will be like,
Yeah.
"Who is this person?" Like,
I appreciate
love it.
your time. I'm gonna have to get going. I have a 11
Yes,
o'clock call as well with one of my consumers. So I
enjoy.
really enjoyed this. This is really nice.
Really good, and if we'll decide, we'll jump on. Thank you for everyone that was here. Enjoy the rest of the day. Let's
We'll
remember magic unfolding.
reconnect.
Absolutely.
We'll
Bye,
make
bye,
we'll
bye,
make
bye,
this
bye.
work. Stay in touch, okay?
Will do. Absolutely. Thank you,
Up
people.
to you.
Thank you for everyone as well. Bye.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Bye bye.